So I want to ask you about being on the antidepressants.
Mhm.
Do you even notice any change? Because it doesn't seem like you're any different.
Unless you like lived with me because I can't see my own behavior or like think about if it's any different, but
Right.
Ashley notices when my appetite changes and
Okay.
people would notice if like I've not been as frustrated recently. Like I'll literally be in math class, and this happened a few days ago. I was in math class, and I had an outdated calculator. So my teacher was like, "You need to press this button." I was like, "I do not have that button," and I told her. It took her half an hour to respond to me and tell me what button to use instead. And I told her the model that I had and everything. And she was like, maybe I could find a picture. So she finally finds it, and it's not the button. I was like, she's not explaining this well enough. She's not giving me the information I need, and the, I just need give me an online calculator for with the same buttons, so I know what you mean when you're talking about this. Or even if it's not the same button that she's using, if it does the same thing, give me it. So instead, she was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do." So I got frustrated and I started to cry, which is very common with me. If I get frustrated, I just start crying.
And this
And
was while on the medication?
yeah,
Okay.
and this would happen off the medication too, except way more often, way easily, way more easily.
Because
Um,
I've heard that it's like even harder to cry when you're on that.
I think it is a little bit
Yeah, you're
because I was
saying.
able to think about it because I was like, whoa, I'm starting to cry. I'm getting too frustrated, so I had to calm down. And I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the first part of the equation I can, and then I'm gonna submit that, and then ask her how I'm supposed to simplify it on my calculator, or I'll just literally go to Google and say simplify and put the number in, and it'll
Mm.
give me the answer anyway. So I was like, easy solution. So I calmed down immediately instead of ranting and crying for 5 minutes.
It actually
Um,
sounds like it's a really positive thing because it doesn't like numb everything. It just
yeah,
helps you kind of sort things out and
yeah.
break it down into smaller pieces and
And I also noticed since I'm not getting frustrated, I also have more patience with Jason Piper. So if no one's doing the dishes and 3 days in a row Joel comes home and he hasn't done the dishes, instead of me turning at Jason Piper the fourth day and saying, you guys need to do the dishes and like being on their ass,
yeah.
instead I just understand I need to make sure the dishes get done and I'll just constantly remind them. And after too many reminders, usually I would just yell at them and I scared the shit out of Jace. He shakes sometimes. Like I turned around the one time and yelled at him, and he went. She's so confused. It was funny, but I was really mad that day. But my patience has been much better, so I don't yell at them the next day. I just make sure that I remind them more often. Um, and I haven't cried like apparently I told her the last time I was there, the psychiatrist I was talking to her, and she goes, "How often do you cry?" And I don't remember what I told her, but I must have said a pretty astronomical number. Because this time I came back and I said I probably only cried twice the entire time I've been on this medication, which is about 4 weeks. No, 8 weeks at that time. This is our second meeting.
And how
So
much was it before?
I don't remember, but it might have been 3 or 4 times to 2 times within, like 3 or 4 times a week to 2 times in 8 weeks, pretty much.
Right. Okay.
So, I then like we were talking about it, and she's like, "Do you notice any changes with the medicine?" Medicine, and I was like, "I don't," but Ashley said the first few weeks I was on it, my appetite was a little bit up and down, but I was also sick at the same time. And I said she noticed it being more down sometimes. And then this time, like, it's definitely been pretty constant. Same as it was before I was on the medication. It just went down a little bit for a while.
Mm.
And I had to, like, adjust. Which is why I don't like when, like, the first time I was in a meeting, it was like you could either continue the medication to see if there's any different results, or you could stop the medication if you just want to end it and say that nothing's changed.
Mm.
It's like, well, if nothing's changed, then it hasn't had time to kick in yet, and or it hasn't had time to help me readjust because people could be on these medicines for years, and then all of a sudden, after a certain amount of years, your attitude completely changes because your
Mm.
life is different than it was when you were first put
Oh
on the
yeah.
medication. Um,
So that is what the medication's doing. That's
That's you just
That's
changing as a
separate. Yeah.
person,
Right.
and the medication, you either need a different prescription or you can be done for a while and see how it goes. Which is what my mom did because she started to get more depressed on an antidepressant. She was like, "You need to change the medicine you have me on,"
Mm-hmm.
and eventually she stopped taking anything until she was pregnant with Gavin, and then she was like, "I have postpartum. Give me this." But also with medicine, I need to close this because I'm glancing at it. I also I haven't been sad. My appetite changed, and I've been less frustrated. But I haven't noticed anything with like being more happy or anything. Plus, for the last 3 weeks, I've been locked in a dungeon in the basement. So.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty good right now. If it doesn't make me think different or feel super different, it just makes me be, I guess, more me. That's like a commercial quote, though.
Well, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it from a medication like that. So
Yeah.
that's really good.
This was the first one I tried, so I was like, better work.
Yeah.
If I'm trying antidepressant the first time, and my mom's like, you could kill yourself. If you don't like the medication, you could, and I want you to tell me first. And I was like, oh my god, am I going to kill myself with Lexapro?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's working because I'm usually like a last resort for medicine. Like I never go that direction for mental health, but I think for your situation, it actually really is working.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And I'm not doing therapy anymore. I'm just going to like psychiatrist visits so that they can keep track of my medication and my well-being as I go on. And there was a conversation about anxiety with it, and she was like, the last time I was here, the entire time, I'd usually spin my rings or something. But like this one I was wearing and this one I'd forgotten.
Mm.
So this time I hadn't spun at my rings like once. And the last time I had a Dunkin' Donuts cup with me. This time I had nothing with me. And there was like no distractions or anything. So I wasn't fidgeting at all. And then she was like, I can tell that you're more calm about things now. Um, and I don't know if that's me being more comfortable with her or me being more comfortable because I'm on that Lexapro.
Right.
So,
Mm.
and she was like, how did you feel the first few weeks on Lexapro? And I was like, well, I don't know if I had more anxiety or if my anxiety was just more noticeable because I had then been diagnosed with anxiety. Like, I didn't think that all of a sudden on Lexapro it would go away or it would show up or anything. I just
Right.
expected it to be gradual and for me not to notice. But I did notice my anxiety, and I noticed that I was experiencing it more. So I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this long term. But then by the time we went to a meeting, it was like, how's your anxiety? I was like, it's actually pretty good. Every once in a while, there's this feeling I have that I think kind of ties in with my perfectionism. And it's like every once in a while, I just have words that repeat in my head over and over again, and I can't translate it to English. Like it's a feeling in a set of words that I can understand. So it's like it'll repeat so fast in my head that it's like I can't hear it and I can't say the words. But when I have that flash, I'm trying to translate it like so much, but
Yeah.
I've so far gotten like maybe you should, and then it's depending on the situation. It'll be maybe you should slow down, maybe you should stop, maybe you shouldn't do that or something. But it's not like if I'm doing something bad. I'm literally sitting in my bed in the middle of class, doing nothing, homework, paying attention, whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should slow down. Just calm down a little bit. And it's like, oh my god, what is going on?
That is weird.
Yeah. And I still have no idea how to explain it because it still doesn't come to me
Wait,
as
so
words.
that's okay. So it doesn't come as words, but how were you able to tell that that's what it meant? You know.
I don't know even, because that's what makes it so hard for me to like, I guess, translate it. Because it's like, I had a dream when I was like 5 or something. Because I was still in that small room in my mom's house, and I went down for a nap. And I think about this so often. I went down for a nap, and I remember waking up and watching myself leave the room, but I'm on the wall watching myself leave the room, third person perspective. And I watched myself leave the room, and I was like, oh, that was a dream. I left my room in a dream. I never went back into my room. I never like changed camera perspectives. But I don't see myself in third person right now. I'm watching from first person. But when I see any memories of myself, I watch in third person.
Whoa, that's probably wow. That's probably like a trauma thing. Like you don't want to relive memories as yourself. You kind of want to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah. And like if I'm remembering specific times, like I can remember being in first person, but if I'm trying to remember the events that happened that day, I'm watching in third person. So
Hmm.
it's kind of weird, and that
Do you like prefer the third person, or is it just it's like,
I
oh, that's kind of weird?
I'd
Yeah.
prefer if I could see it in first person because for a while when I was maybe 11 or something and I was remembering, I was like, that was really weird. What if I never woke up? What if I watched myself leave the room and leave myself with it and like now I'm just kind of in the room right now and half of myself is in there and I'm just out here and I never woke up. This is a dream. Half of me is in that room in real life and this is all a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Or I left a part of myself in that room or something. It's weird. But
Wow.
I,
Wow.
in that dream before I woke up and walked out of the room, there was this like a dog toy or a baby's chew toy, which would make sense for it to be a baby's chew toy. It was all black and it had like these spikes, but it wasn't pointed. It was like a gumdrop. It was like a
Yeah.
gumdrop, but it was tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So and it had those like spike things on it, and they were all different colors. And if you bounce the ball really hard or you like squish the plastic thing in the center, it would change colors, like all those
Mm-hmm.
rubber balls that you get in like claw machines and stuff. It would have
Yeah.
that blinking light on the inside. So that's what it would do. And I had a dream that that thing was the size of my room, so it filled top to bottom and side to side, but it had enough room so it could move diagonally because there was space in the corners and everything. So it could change sizes too. So it was like just suffocating pretty much, and it was huge, and it would spin in every direction. So it had like no axis,
Mm-hmm.
and it bounced at the same time up and down, and it grew and shrunk. So it's literally going like this and spinning the entire time.
What the
It's
fuck?
weird. So, so I don't remember if there was like music or if it was a noise, but it just was like deafening. And I don't know if it was like bouncing and echoing or something, but it was just suffocating and deafening. And I was like, oh my god, this is terrifying. And it was probably my most realistic nightmare because I remember sitting on my bed and not being able to move and still watching from third perspective. So I was sitting like right here. It was all happening. My bed was here, the ball was here, bouncing and shrinking and everything, and I was watching it from over here.
What the fuck? So like you could see yourself asleep.
Not asleep. I was awake looking at it. My eyes and my body were looking at the ball. And I was like this, but like I couldn't really get up and walk away. But I wasn't like flat on my bed, curled up or asleep or anything. I was just sitting there watching it.
Wait, so you're saying that you saw it from the corner,
Mhm.
and your bed's in the other corner.
Mhm.
So did you see yourself on the bed while you're like there's two of you?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. Um, so the when I'm on the bed, I'm still facing and looking at it, but I'm not seeing it from my eyes. I'm seeing it from back there.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, that was weird. And every once in a while, when I get that feeling when I'm sitting in math class and it's like, maybe you should do this, maybe you should like do that.
Yeah.
Um, it's I get that feeling again, the pulsing and the bright lights and the deafening sound, and it's like that
Wow.
is anxiety. It's a baby's chew toy that they toss around the room and scare the shit out of you with.